Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to all the very talented witnesses that we have here today. I appreciate it very much. My first question goes to Ms. Y. You know, many of our universities have programs designed to promoting diversity in STEM. Purdue University, for example, has a division of diversity and inclusion, and each department has their own diversity program as well, including a Women in Science program at Purdue's College of Science and the Minority Engineering program in their College of Engineering. So my question to you is, you mentioned some of the programs that Intel has been able to use to create a more diverse STEM workforce. How do some of the things I just mentioned above, like at Purdue, are you able to work with those programs? Are they beneficial to getting people into the program, into the STEM programs?
Absolutely. So we have strong partnerships with several universities. And what I would say about it is it's not enough to get the talent in the door at Intel. So we haven't had huge obstacles getting the talent into Intel. Our obstacles have been more around the retention and inclusion of talent once the students, women and underrepresented minorities, enter into Intel. So we actually did a study inside of Intel to make sure that we could get to the root of what were some of the specific challenges in the way of retaining talent at Intel and asking our employees who are staying at Intel what's at the root of them staying. And I think we can all agree on some of those critical elements. It's really largely around having an inclusive environment where I feel a sense of belonging. That's critically important. The second thing is to have a sense of community. So inside of Intel, we have about 29 employee resource groups so that individuals can have a place, a safe landing to ask some of their difficult questions. And then I think the third thing is just the leadership and the leadership accountability, which is what I spoke about in my written testimony about how we're training managers to be more inclusive.
Thank you. My second question goes to Dr. Moore, and you know, since we're getting these university priorities corrected, I just wanted you to know, maybe you're not aware that Purdue University considers the Ohio State University as our eastern campus, just in case that. Anyway, this year I introduced, I'm watching you recover from that, this year I introduced with my colleague and chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Research and Technology, Mrs. Haley Stevens, the building blocks of the STEM Act. And this legislation would work to ensure that NSF provides research and insight into STEM education during early childhood, and particularly for girls. So my question to you, Dr. Moore, is one of the lessons you brought up was that students are underserved in the underserved communities are often unprepared for college-level STEM work. Do you think there is a real gap in the pipeline for our young children's STEM education? And if so, what should we do to address that gap?
Certainly, you know, our zip codes do matter currently. Unfortunately, you know, when I was talking about Shelby and Omari, Shelby grew up in Beverly, Ohio, but I didn't finish. Even though she had struggles, we kind of supported her through our office. And she's now a PhD student at the University of Cambridge in the UK, right? And so, thank goodness we have an institution like what we have to support students and help them reach their dreams and aspirations. And Amari is a constant on the dean's list, even though, so great minds come from every zip codes. I think first and foremost, our society has to believe that. And how we can coach. Everybody needs coaching. I know Congressman Gonzalez, a former NFL star Buckeye football player, and Coach Tressel coached him up no matter how good he was. And so I'm saying that that's the philosophy we have, is that we want students to reach optimal success, regardless of whether you're fifth-generation college student or whether you're going to be the first in your family and college student. I think when we talk about we have to change the whole ecosystem, and we know when families sometimes may not be able to play their part, our schools used to play a part. But now our schools are fragile, our communities are fragile, and it's making it very difficult. So our land grants, our public and private institutions, our higher learning, they're required to do even more. But not only that, we can't do it by ourselves without industries and community, because they play it is a part of the ecosystem. And so some of the students, when you first, you have anxiety about being the first. You go in places that no one has ever been before, and sometimes you don't know how to ask for help. And it's not because even when they have a 4.0, Shelby was one of the top students in her high school. But you come to Ohio State, you're talking about any given day, we got 100,000 people near our campus, and it could be quite overwhelming if you don't have the right support. So we're working on that, not only for students, incoming freshmen, but we're even working on it how we do a better job with our transfer students. When you go to schools that may not have all the resources, the two-year college route is becoming a preferred route to get to Ohio State and Purdue and other places. And so our institutions of higher learning have to do more. But I would say this, I would be remiss, there's no federally funded program probably been more impactful for broadening participation than the Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. What might be an idea, how could we think about that and expanding it? Our grant is $4.5 million. We have 10 universities. 10 universities trying to share $4.5 million. It's not a lot of money, but thinking about how do we leverage what we all do to make even greater impact.
Thank you. I think I'm out of time. Did you have?
I just want to add, and I don't know if this is out of order, but to add something about the question of childhood and what happens as we get children through. We're mistaken sometimes when we believe that we have to get students interested in science. Right. We come out of the chute excited about science. We're picking up the bugs, the snails, the stuff in the couch. We're asking what it is. What happens many times is that children go to school, instead of using this prodigious construct for learning right. that all children have, it's very well documented for childhood, we demotivate them. We take the energy away by teaching science in a way that it just isn't. Science is really about hands-on. What is the most, besides parents, what is the most impactful part of this is teachers. And many teachers in K-12, or say K-8, have not had science as a specialty. And so we have to really make sure that we look at teacher training. And again, I want to just go to the idea of teacher certification. How do we support that so that teachers actually are able to do the work that maintains the student interest, that helps them to build the kind of resilience that they need to continue through? If we do that and build science literacy, then we will have the pipeline, the resilient pipeline that we need to go into skilled labor, 4-year degrees, or postdoctorate degrees.